All right, we are live. What's going on for all you guys that are watching this via replay? You can still tap the screen throughout and heart away. For those of you that are just joining in, we're going to get into some good stuff. We're going to do a Q&A. But before that, I want some advice on a topic, and we're going to get into that in a little bit. We have here Sloan with us, and this is Sloan's second time on the treadmill. We're just doing some real soft, like pressure release stuff. Nice pace, nothing crazy. Just building up some confidence for him. And I am here. What's up, guys? Give me a sec. Try to make myself look pretty. There we go. I think we're good. All right. Didn't really do much, but that's that. So I know we got everybody coming on in. Just doing this treadmill. We have Jen over here. Just catching up on some emails and all the real important behind the scenes stuff. Well, I just act like I'm doing a lot. I'm just sitting here goofing off with you guys. Hey, how are you, Chelsea? How's it going?
Lola.
Where's Lola? Oh, Lola is there in the corner. From Minnesota. Awesome. Where's Lola? So we got Diz over there. Lola's hanging out. We just had Kobe get picked up and dropped off. I'm sorry, picked up. Coming in, so Lola did fantastic. We also got, look at that face over there. Vicente passed out. Got Soko over there in the corner. Julieta right over there. Snoring as usual. And then the other Jen, Kennington, is downstairs with a bunch of them getting some extra treadmill exercise. Just started snowing outside. I don't know if you guys can see that. But we have the Heart Florence from Florida. Hey, Ann, how are you? Good that you're here. Caddy, Too Fast. I see a lot of familiar names. All right, so let's jump into it. I know it's the morning, so it's probably going to be a little bit less full than some of the evening scopes. We're going to do a Q&A at the end. This is not going to be a long scope, so you guys just hang in there. What I wanted to talk to you guys about, I actually wanted some advice from all of you. So, yeah, I do have a shadow program, actually. You can visit the website. The website is www.dctcanine.com. So the company name is Dream Come True Canine. The website is just the initials, DCT letter K number 9.com. You'll see that there. So we offer two things for our apprentice, right? We have a 1-week apprentice program, and then we have shadow, which is by the day. So sometimes people can't make the full week or something. Oh, you're in Long Island? No way. Yeah, come on down for sure. You're right there. Shadowing is a couple from Philly. Okay, well, listen, the Rangers just beat the Flyers, so slap in the face for you there. Jen says we're trying to get clients, not alienate people. Yeah, well, I was actually just in Philly. Saturday night I was in Philly. Right over that big bridge. I was watching one of my friends. He's an MMA fighter. I was there for the night, and then I drove back. So, going into the topics, I actually want some advice from you guys. And the question is, if you had the opportunity to hear me speak or watch me speak live on stage, and you were able to choose the topic that you wanted me to speak on or present on, what would it be? And then I'm going to get into why I'm asking this, but I'm just taking a poll because I have a lot of ideas. I'm actually going to be speaking outside of a seminar, and I'm actually going to be speaking at IACP conference in California later on this year in September. So we have fear aggression, we have aggressive dogs, e-collars. Now, one thing to kind of keep in mind is that the majority of people that I'm speaking in front of are going to be trainers. So it should be something that makes me unique from the rest of the trainers, or would be something that I'm doing that's a little bit different from everybody else that they might want to hear. Majority of trainers have been training longer than I am, so it has to be something that they're not like, yeah, well, we know that or we do that. Communication with clients, anxiety, relationship building. Okay, good stuff. So I want to be able to touch on all of these, talk about city dogs, and okay, that's interesting stuff, and find a way to kind of merge these. So I'm just trying to get a bunch of ideas, building with aggressive dogs, all that stuff. Okay, great. Great. So I am going to be speaking on this stage, Periscope and business, relationships, tailoring to clients. So you guys got a lot of good ideas. I want to be able to touch on a little bit of everything while speaking about one main topic. So you guys are helping me out with all these things, agreeing to people. Okay. Okay, awesome, awesome. Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate that. We're going to do a Q&A in a little bit. The reason I asked you guys is because I have to put together a, I guess a presentation. I was going to say a speech, a presentation. I'm going to be speaking at IACP conference, International Association of Canine Professionals. Some other speakers that are going to be speaking as well. Cesar Milan, Heather Beck, Jay Jack. The list goes on. But thank you, appreciate it. But it's a pretty big deal to be speaking on there and speaking in front of already established trainers and stuff for the most part. How can dogs work with multiples? You want to know what? Who just put that, multiple dogs in one home? That's actually what I'm leaning more toward. I don't know. It might be able to be seen online. You might have to stream that. It might have to be a small fee. But you guys can attend also. You can attend as a member, or you can attend as somebody who's just interested, who may potentially want to be a member down the line. It's definitely pretty rad. Canineprofessionals.com, I believe, is the website. It's in September. It's going to be in California, and I could use the support too. It's going to be my first time speaking there, so I think I'll definitely appeal to some of the people that already know me and are familiar with me, and like some of the younger audiences. But I also don't want to rub some of the more established veteran trainers. So I want them to kind of see me. Oh wow, that's what people see in this kid. Versus why has he only been training for X amount of years? I've been doing it for 30, and he's speaking and I haven't. Right. So I want to make sure that I try to speak on a topic that's appealing to everybody. That's really important. But going into Q&A stuff. Let me actually talk a little bit more on IACP, because you guys had questions about that. You can attend. It's pretty awesome. There's going to be a lot of people speaking, doing different presentations, a lot of networking, a lot of learning. It's probably the best bang for your buck when it comes to being around so many people. Some people that have spoken before. Michael Ellis, you guys, he's a very, very well-known trainer on all sides of the spectrum. Bart Ballone from Germany came down. Tyler Muto has spoken. Josh Moran, Jeff Gelman, Sean O'Shea. A lot of those people have all spoken. I think Kim, are you still on here? Did you present at IACP last year? I feel like maybe I'm just so used to, not you, Casey, Kim Greco. Not really sure. But if you guys have a Q&A, now's the time. We're going to do a little bit of a quick one. I'm just going to keep slowing on here for a little bit, and then we're going to go into trying to see if he's going to eat. Will do. Thank you, Began. Appreciate it. Good videos on how to introduce an e-collar. I have on catch.me, they're the Periscope sessions that are recorded. There are two in particular where I'm using the remote collar, and I have a CB radio where the button is, when the button is on, you can hear it. When the button is off, the sound is off. So you're able to kind of really get an understanding of when the button's going on, how I'm using it, when it's coming off and stuff, and I elaborate on things. So one is with Sophie. It's her first time on the treadmill. And then one is with, I think it's titled like Little Dog Excitedly Working for her meal. So you can see that one's with Phoebe and then one's with Sophie. And then I also do one with Penny. It's kind of a really long scope, which ties into introducing a dog for the very first time. And then you can see the dog a little bit unsure, and then jumping right after to the dog that was in the treadmill, which was Penny, and then doing all that stuff with the dog that was comfortable and showing all the flashy work, and then also taking her collar off, so you can see the difference in behavior when the remote is on and when the remote is off. Just a little bit of a tip, so you know there was no difference in behavior. But I talk more on that, so I think that's important. Other people that have really good remote collar stuff, Tyler Muto. I'm also doing a workshop, a seminar with him, 4-day hands-on in June in Niagara, New York. We're going to have people from all over coming, from New Zealand, Canada, California, forget where else. I think we have some interest of one person in Australia, so people are going to be coming from all over. We're only doing one this year. You can bring your dog or you can come and spectate. That's with Tyler Muto, 4-day hands-on, catered lunch every day, big graduation dinner on the waterfalls. You have like a beautiful view of it, so it's a pretty big deal. The workshop is Understanding Canine Behavior. The dates are going to be confirmed later on this week, but I believe it's going to be the weekend of June 3rd. So it'll be a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's awesome. Definitely check that out. Talamito has some good stuff. Sean and Jeff have some good stuff. Michael Ellis has some good Learberg stuff on there. I'm not sure as far as videos what Bart Ballone has out, but the presentation that he did at IACP was like a five-hour presentation, and he actually remote collar trained 2 humans without even talking to them, really. It was incredible. It was absolutely incredible. So it just shows you how it could be done, and it was really entertaining as well. I'm pretty sure you can actually find that, and you can buy that. That's for sale. I'm not sure if it's at Canine Professionals or it's at a Bart Ballone website, but I would recommend that too. It was incredible to see. I'm gonna get this guy off here. Come here. Should you work on all foundation skills with a new dog? What do you mean? What do you mean by that? Hey, good. Sit. Everyone, I mean, all dogs you should always work on all foundation. Yeah, you definitely want to work on all that stuff, but you don't want to mix it up all in one session. There's a couple things that you're already kind of going to be mixing up. You're going to be introducing markers and stuff, so sticking to one thing, like whether it's sit and then sit in place, and then eventually, like when that's getting good and you have a dog that's not weird about accepting food, knows what to expect, that's pretty easy. You can take that concept and introduce it. There's 2 parts of place, so one day could be sending to place and releasing, sending and releasing, sending and releasing, and then you can start to focus on the staying portion of place, which is sending and then holding there, and then you're using, you're using your body to kind of help keep the dog on, and then the next is going to be like recall and stuff like that. So you definitely want to teach your dog everything. You just don't, if your dog is confused with some stuff, you don't want to be quick to jump into doing everything when your dog doesn't really grasp the concept of one thing. That's the one thing that's important, so take your time with that. What else were we talking about? What other questions do we have, guys? Oh, somebody asked about when's a good time to start e-collar on a puppy. I think the age really doesn't matter. Usually the 4 to 6 month mark makes the most sense because that's a time where you're able to teach a dog. The thing that's a priority for me is I want the dog to already know how to do everything that I'm going to be asking him to do with the remote collar. So it's not like being forcefully done. It's like, hey, you're already enthusiastically doing all these things and you're happy about it. Now I'm going to transfer how I taught you to a different form of communication, and I want to teach you that everything that you already know how to do when you feel that, that's what I'm asking you to do. So that's my voice. So I'm just transferring my voice from like a leash to that, to this, from this to that. That's pretty much all it is. So 4 to 6 months makes the most sense. But then you want to make sure that the dog just knows what you're asking first. How to build toy drive in a dog. That can be a little bit tougher. Hey, that could be a little bit tougher. It really depends. Some dogs just naturally aren't super motivated, but it's still the same basic like counter conditioning process. You want to know, you want to be aware of your state of mind and your energy, and when to kind of be down and then when to really drive up. And if a dog is already conditioned to working for food, you can eventually transfer them to doing something with the ball, getting interested with the ball, and then as a result they get fed, right? And then a little bit of interest with the ball, as a result they get fed, and that specific toy only comes out during feeding time, right? It's not out 24/7 when feeding time is over. That ball gets put away. So whenever that ball gets taken out, it's, I know what time it is, it's feeding time, and eventually you can start to fade food out because it represents already what you need to. Just like the light with that experiment with the monkeys, the light came on, they could work, they could pull the levers, and then the banana came out. It was the light that got them most excited, not working for the banana and not the banana falling out. All right, so if you guys have watched my scopes, you know what I'm talking about. So it's the same concept. Once that toy comes out, it's time to eat. And you do a bunch of that, and then eventually you can transfer that. So the close command, how to teach the close command. The close command, for those of you that guys don't know, that's the word that we use for heel, and that's a focused heel. It is a necessity. I'm gonna actually show you guys just a little trick right now with my dog, right? So, what's up? Oh, cool. Yeah, I'm gonna actually grab a food for a second. So I do heel work just for like fun, pretty much. I don't really have a need for it with the average client, but it is cool to kind of understand. So when I'm doing this stuff, I have to have certain things set in place first. Those certain things are going to be a dog that can free shape and lure or shape and follow my hand for food, so they're already familiar with the markers, good, yes, and nope. I've taught that through place, I've taught that through sit, I've taught that through regularly working the dog for their food. They understand that concept. Then I start manipulating the body because I can have their head follow, and if I'm very wide with my turns, their head guides their body where it needs to be guided, right? So I'm going to try and set this up really, really quickly so that you can see. I'm also going to headphone out. It's a question about how to kind of teach a heel command. So I would imagine you're talking about more like a focused heel, not on the leash. What's up, Shaq? I see you just joined. Oh, awesome! I'm really glad you enjoyed that. Yeah, it's a game changer. Yeah. So then, yeah, rear end. There's so many different ways to kind of teach. You can also So yeah, what Ann is talking about with rear end awareness is basically keeping him. Hey, Jen, can I interrupt you for 1 second? Yeah, and just show, I don't know where that, oh, it's in there, right? Yeah, so how many of you guys have actually seen, you know, all these rumors that you hear about Huskies can't be like off-leash trained and Huskies Huskies like don't listen or they can't do heel work? We're going to show you some cool stuff right now. Down. Right? So the stuff to teach rear end awareness is usually done with like some form of touchpad where the two paws stay on and the dog learns how to kind of follow you. So I'm going to just bust out a Husky right here. No worries, Shaq. So you can start really basic without asking for much. The paws have to be on.
This is our first, basically our first, like he knows to touch the touchpad.
Yeah.
But he hasn't figured out that we're turning yet.
He hasn't figured out like the turning. So the goal would be to really take your time with keeping your dog on there. There's so many ways to kind of teach this in the touchpad, and it's feeding, and eventually when this gets really good, you can do some good stuff, right? So that would be more for actual precision, but you see like the patient, this is her first time actually doing this with him, right? So I only see one person, it's only Kim that's harding. You guys are watching this stuff and you're not harding. Stop being jerk faces, right? Okay, and then there's also the rollerblades with close. That is done with just basic heel stuff, and that is done down. Can you also show without the touchpad some stuff that you do with this? Down, just for heel. That stuff is automatic. You have a dog that is already walking nicely for you. Before you start jogging, before you start running, a dog knows how to walk nice. So you have to teach a dog to follow leash pressure. Right? So now you have a dog that's like healing, and then when you like what you see physically, then you can kind of jump into more stuff, right? You also teach this on a leash with leash pressure, and then you start to get all of a sudden this wolf dog that people say you can't train, and he's looking like a champion. Good job. Right? So a lot of that stuff is done with food. Thank you, Ben. And then he knows like all his tricks and everything. And then another thing that people do, Soko, come here. It's like if Soko's here, sit. You can use a wall as well. So the wall, Soko, come here. So is you want to shape, this kind of uses like a little pocket where you have to teach him. You might, I don't have too much space. Let me back him up a little. Come here. Sit. So what you're doing here is you're bringing him back. You might take a step back, feed here, and then when Soko, get him back where you want him. I don't have a lot of room here because there's another dog here. And then you basically turn him in here, and then you can start to good feed. Eventually you ask for eye contact. Eventually you start to move, and then eventually he's not just looking at this. He's actually, even if the food is back here, come here, close. Sit. Even if the food is like away over here, come here. Good. Nope. Good. Now the food is behind them. You see that right where he looked. Good. Nope. Yes. And then you can mark for like your yes and do a bunch of things. So that's pretty much that. And then eventually what happens is you don't have to be that, thanks. You don't have to be that precise with those movements because he understands the movement. So eventually I can just say close. And he has to fit in that box or in that pocket. Good. And then you can start to really get that. Yes. And then eventually you switch it to moving on a walk and doing a bunch of all that stuff. So I'll place you right back there with Dizzy. Come here. Place. Hey, So go. Place. Down. So we got the two wolves. Down. Good. This guy's hanging out. Yeah, Ellis talks about all that stuff. As far as, did you guys see the Instagram video with Jen when he hops into his heel command? It's actually pretty funny. It's like a GIF with Boomerang where it just keeps going back and forth. It's pretty funny. Check out our Instagram page. You'll see it. That's just a habit. Yeah, I just have a snapping habit. There's some habits that like I do, things that I do that I just do on my own that I don't even teach my clients. We teach them like different. Okay, so this is the thing. You're never really, actually I guess you are gambling with the e-collar. What you're doing before you're gambling with the e-collar is you're gambling just with leash pressure first. Right, so if you're teaching like e-collar stuff and you're teaching a dog how to do it with like leash pressure and following with food, you then gamble and you take away one of those forms of information. Like, all right, this time I'm just going to use leash pressure and I'm not going to use my hand to lure. This time I'm just going to use, a little bit of luring. I'm not going to help with leash pressure. This time I'm going to fade those out and I'm just going to use the remote. And then when the dog's successful, awesome, but then I'm going to go back to giving all those pieces of information. So it kind of goes back and forth, and eventually you can fade out food, eventually you can fade out leash pressure, you can fade out everything, and you can be the person that just says it and the dog does it, right? So that's pretty much how you gamble, and it doesn't matter whether it's a leash, remote collar, whatever it is, it's all the same. As far as healing, not random at all. So this flooring, I forget exactly what it is, but we got it at mats.com. And they have a bunch of different types of flooring and like gym type mats and stuff like that. And that's what the flooring is. And then you piece them together and it has like a sealant to make sure that it's like all sealed. Hold on a second. Hey. Down. Show you this. Good. So he's getting really, really worked up by seeing all of this, but this is part of his practice too. So as like she's working him, she struggles with impulse. That's Lola right there. I'll show you this. Let's see, so you can see a little bit of like the shaking. That's like just the anxiety from like her really trying hard. And this is all we do. We just let her go to this every day to the point where in her mind, it's not an exercise anymore. It's just, oh, this is what I do. Right now, it's an exercise. It's really, really hard for her. Like if dogs could like really sweat aside from their paws and like their nose and stuff, those glands. Down. You would see, it would be like me going to the gym and like really working out. So she's, it's actually easier for her when she's watching and nobody's like looking at her, there's no shaking, but then when we're kind of keeping tabs on her, she's like, I'm trying, so we don't make a big deal out of it. It's just like, hey, this is what we're gonna do today. You do this every day, you do this every morning, and that's how she kind of learns her impulse control stuff. As far as the heel, like on a loose leash walk, that's just leash pressure 101 stuff. I actually just finished shooting a video. We had a new board and train that just came in. Did Jerry just come in yesterday? Yeah, so Jerry just came in yesterday. It's this pit bull, very strong, some aggressive tendencies, more of a nervous, fearful dog, even though he's a big kind of strong dog. So stop. So I gave a little correction there, and you can hear like the vocalization, but it actually wasn't anything harsh. Stop.
We're starting to get a little.
Oh yeah, here you go. So now, I don't know if you can see, Jen is starting. And a lot of that with the movement in the back legs is a mixture of helping the dog figure it out, but a mixture of how we're moving our hand and our body so that it can be clear for the dog to actually be successful with that, right? But yeah, it's one-on-one. So anyway, I just did a video with that dog and like what we do one-on-one and the leash pressure stuff and what we look to teach. The leash should always be ahead of the dog, even if you're trying to pull them back behind you. So we're gonna get that video out. I'm not sure when that's gonna happen, but you'll be able to see that. Because I've been doing kind of a place, how do I make it official command? Start fresh. You just, when you like what you see and a dog knows how to go there, the dog goes there and then gets released for food, goes there, gets released for food. I've done videos on this, so check catch.me and you'll see I've actually explained in detail kind of how to do that. And you gotta search through like introduction to place and you'll understand like the concepts. That's how you get a dog to do it, and you don't name it until the dog's doing it and you like what you see, then you name it. And the name comes first, and then you do what you've already been doing to have the dog successfully finish that, right? But that video on the new dog, we filmed it yesterday, and it's got some good stuff with leash pressure. That's gonna really help to get you guys to see what I mean when I talk about leash pressure. The leash is always ahead of the dog. And when you have that stuff set up, a dog naturally follows you on the walk. Yeah, you never name it until it's clear. Find those periscopes. We're talking about place, working the dog for place. You'll see how we use the markers and stuff, and that will make a lot of sense for you guys. I'll take one more question, guys. Yeah, it's on catch.me. Catch.me, and then you look for Dream Come True Canine. I think we have so we've done like 150 scopes, but there's only like 77 scopes that are on there because I didn't start the catch.me until later on. So what was that last one? How to maintain good? I missed that. I'm gonna answer that one and then I'm gonna head out. And then I'm gonna try to do a scope later on tonight. Might be so I've done one on positive reinforcement and my thoughts on. I think I might do one on corrections and my thoughts on that, and really getting it a little bit more detailed into corrections and what a correction is to me, what it means to me, the different types of corrections, all that stuff. The very first command to teach, before I teach any commands, I teach the languages. So the very first thing that you teach are languages, and languages are through tools that you use. Usually I'm either guiding a dog to a placemat through leash pressure and maybe through food, or I'm teaching the dog how to sit. It's usually one of those two things. How to maintain good behavior when dog is home and you work during the day. Yeah, that's a great question. You have to focus on having your dog regularly have impulse control behavior, and then also challenging your dog where they're not normally challenged. So that might mean you need to have a little bit of a babysitter. If your dog is obsessively barking or people are in and out of your house, you might want to benefit or understand how to properly use like a bark collar to interrupt certain things that no one's there to catch. And then also creating and getting the dog into habitually knowing what to do physically so that it can access the brain, so that eventually you have the dog that just does what it wants, right? So now we're looking, and this is like pretty cool. She's just hanging out there kind of learning the drill while Jen is working DIS for a bunch of things. So now I'll show you what Jen is working on. She's working on a hold. He's got to hold that in order to get the food. If he drops it before she says, you don't get fed.
Oh, good.
So she's using the word off. And she's just hanging out.
Off. Good.
Pretty cool. So you can teach anything through working the dog for food if they understand the concept of them being responsible for whether they get fed or not. Right, so it's pretty cool stuff, and that's pretty much what we have going on right now, guys. Thanks for watching the scope. We're gonna get you get back into the rhythm of doing at least one scope a day, and then going from there. Nothing different to use as motivation. Food is probably the #1 thing you can use for motivation. It just might not be initially, so you have to build that, right? And there's a couple things you can use for motivation. I spoke about the topic of fear, as crazy as that sounds. Food and fear, those are probably the two like top motivation things, and that can easily get taken out of context. So I don't mean you should be training your dogs to fear you and fear like things, but we naturally fear consequences and fear what will happen if we don't make certain choices. Like I fear if I don't go to work, I might not be able to pay my bills. You know what I mean? I fear if I don't do this, I might not get this. You know what I mean? I fear that if I speed on the highway 120 miles an hour, I'm going to get pulled over. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's healthy fear. It's like the fear of life, and you understand, you know, it gets you thinking. So same thing with working a dog for their food, it gets them thinking, and they go, that's interesting, you've been feeding me a bunch when I was doing that, and then you said nope, and you stopped feeding me here. And now it's like, man, I gotta eat. What was I doing before? Oh, I was on here. This is what gets me fed when you say that place word? Easy, I figured it out. So thanks, I appreciate it. That's what we try to work on. The analogies are really, really important. I'm going to let you guys go. Thanks for watching. Try to do another scope later on tonight. Later, guys.